Hello students, let us discuss atomic orbitals. As the wave character of an electron, which is given by de Broglie, and the uncertainty in the position of electron, which is given by Heisenberg, this model has given an important blow to the Bohr's model. According to Bohr model, electrons revolve in a well-defined circular path. But the idea of uncertainty in the position and velocity overruled the Bohr's picture of fixed circular orbit. Thus, scientists started looking for a theory which may explain stability of atom, dual character of matter, which was given by Louis de Broglie, and the uncertainty principle, which is given by Werner Heisenberg. So, because of this, all studies, in 1927, Werner Schrödinger has given a mathematical equation in order to explain the behavior of electron, which is known as Schrödinger wave equation. As according to the Bohr, electrons are revolving around a definite path that is called as orbit. But according to the dual character of matter, which have a wave nature, and according to the uncertainty principle, the studies shown that the electron is in a wave motion. Because of this, we can say that instead of electron in a fixed path, it must be there in a certain region around the nucleus. So such regions, or we can say a space around the nucleus where the probability, which means chances of finding the electron is maximum, that is 90 to 95% chances are there of electron. Such regions are called as orbitals. Thus, orbit is a definite circular path, but orbital is a region around the nucleus where the probability of finding of electron is maximum. Let us define the orbit and orbital. Orbit is a well-defined circular path around the nucleus in which electrons revolve. The orbital is defined as, an orbital may be defined as region around the nucleus where the probability of finding electron is maximum. So, from this it was clear that instead of electron being revolving in a definite path, but within the energy level, it will be found around a space, around the nucleus, a space where the finding of electron is maximum. That is, probability of finding of electron is maximum. That is called as orbital. Let us discuss what are the types of orbitals. Types of orbitals which is shown here, that is s orbital, p orbital, d orbital and f orbitals. These orbitals are represented by letter small s for s orbital, small p for p orbital, small d for d orbital and small f for the f orbital. Depending upon the shape, these are of s, p, d and f orbitals. Let us discuss each orbital in detail. S orbital. S orbital are non-directional and spherically symmetrical. It means that the probability of finding of electron is same in all the direction at a particular distance from the nucleus. So, whenever we are making an orbital for S, we make a spherical shape. 1s orbital represent the s orbital in the first energy level, that is 1. 2s represent s orbital in the second energy level, that is represented as 2s, and 3s orbital represent the energy level third having s orbital. So here 1, 2, 3 numbers are representing the energy level, that means the orbits, and the s represent the orbital here. So that means 1s is the spherical orbital which is in the first energy level, and 2s is the spherical orbital in the second energy level, and 3s is the spherical orbital in the third energy level. So as we know that the first orbit is closer to the nucleus, then second, then third, and so on. So we can say that the effective volume or the size of 2s is greater than 1s, and the size or the effective volume of 3s is greater than 2s. So when you compare the further 4s, 5s orbital, that will be again greater in size than 3s, and so on. Next orbit is p orbital. P orbital is directional, dumbbell in shape. This shape is called as dumbbell shape, having two lobes. You can find it have two lobes. It is directional because it is oriented in the particular direction. So when you check here, these are on the z-axis. So therefore we can call it as it is directional, dumbbell shape, and it is of three types. Depending upon the orientation, these are of three types. When it is on the x-axis, then it is called as px. When this dumbbell is on the y-axis, you can find it is on the y-axis, then it is called as py, and if it is on the z-axis, then it is called as pz. So depending upon the orientation of p orbitals along the x, y, z direction, we can say it is px, py, and pz orbital. When you compare the size, so the smallest one will be 2p, then 3p, 4p, and so on. So that means 2p represent here, 2 is the energy level and p is the orbital. So that means on the second orbit, the orbital is p. 3 is the energy level and p is the orbital. 4 is the energy level and p is the orbital. So 2p represent that is the dumbbell shaped orbital in the second orbit, and so on. Next is d orbital. D orbital is also directional, having double dumbbell shape. Double dumbbell shape, as we have discussed, dumbbell shape in the case of a p orbital, but here there are two dumbbells, so we can call it as a double dumbbell. These are of 5 type on the basis of orientation. For d orbital, there are 5 possible orientation, that are dxy, dyz, dzx, dx square y square, and dz square. The 3 orbitals, that is dxy, yz, and zx, these are similar. Each consists of 4 lobes of high electron density lying in xy plane. You can see in xy plane, here yz plane, and in dzx it is in zx plane respectively. So these lobes lie in between the principal axis. But in the case of dx square y square, it has 4 lobes of high electron density along the principal axis, that is along the x-axis and the y-axis. Therefore, it is called as 3D x square y square. That means in the case of dxy, yz, and zx, the lobes are in between the principal axis. But in the case of dx square y square, these are exactly on the principal axis, or we can say the high electron density along the principal axis of x and y. Therefore, it is called as x square y square. But in the case of dz square, the orbital consists of two lobes along the z-axis with a ring of high density in the xy plane. That you can see here, there is a ring of high electron density in the xy plane. The shape of 3D orbitals are shown here. So in the case of a dz square, one lobe is on the z-axis and one nucleus that is at the, one ring at the center we can find it, that is of high electron density in the xy plane. So here we have discussed the 5 type of d orbitals: 3D xy, 3D yz, 3D zx, 3D x square y square, 3D z square, where here the 3 represent the third shell. The number 3 represent here third shell, or we can say orbit, or the energy level. So these orbitals are found in the third energy level. So thus we have find it out that s orbital is of spherical shape, p is of dumbbell shape, d is double dumbbell, and f orbital, we are not going to discuss f orbital because it is not for our syllabus. Because in s there is only one possibility, because it is non-directional. Therefore, whenever we are making for a s, we will make a single box. Whenever we are making an orbital diagram, we will make single box for s. And p, because of there are 3 types, px, py, pz, 3 types. Therefore, we'll make 1, 2, 3 boxes for whenever we are representing a p orbital. In the orbital diagram, we'll make 3 boxes for the p, and d are of 5 orientation, that is dxy, yz, zx, x square y square, and z square. Because of the 5 orientation, we'll make 5 boxes for making a orbital diagram. Similarly, for the case of f, we'll make 7 boxes that you can draw here. So we have learnt about the different shapes of s, p, d, f orbital and their orientation: s single, p 3, d 5, and f 7. So this is all about, we have discussed about orbital. It is one of the quite important topic in chemistry. In the further, whatever we are going to learn, that will be all based on these orbitals. So all of you go through this video properly and make a proper note on this. So in the next video, we'll be discussing the further details. Thank you everyone.